I want y'all to see how white my beard got, Jeff and Justin.
Hey man, beautiful. Well, has to be right, just like that.
Wisdom, man.
Wisdom.
All right. Okay.
Live that long.
What up? I am John, and this is the John Muhammad Podcast show. And today we got a Brooklyn MC and producer in the building by the name of Bd3 and UnkleNephew. They got an album out called Time, Era, Period, with songs on there called Soul in My Cup and Why Do You Love Me? Bd3, they say he's a reincarnation of classic hip hop, a lyricist fusing live instrumentation with the love of Afro beats, reggae, soul, funk to rock crowds. And when this brother's not doing music, he goes to the schools and he talks to the kids about literacy in the classrooms and youth programs. Now, my other brother who's in the building, he's a producer, but not only is he a producer, he's also a drummer. This brother's been studying music since he was 3 years old. This brother's been all around the world, from Europe to South America to Asia to Australia. He's opened up for groups like Black Star, which is Mos Def and Kweli. And this brother's done venues such as Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and the University of New Orleans. So I'm very pleased, I'm very happy to be doing this interview. This is truly Brooklyn's finest in the building. So I want all my fans and followers and hip hop heads to show love to Bd3 and UnkleNephew is in the building. What up, fellas?
Peace. What's going on, my brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good for the circumstances. I'm kind of like you with 2020, even though, you know, everything is going on in it, it's actually been a really good year for me. So, you know, sometimes it works like that. Sometimes, you know, it's the worst of times end up making the best things happen. So, you know, so that's kind of how we're moving through 2020. But everybody's healthy. Everybody, your family and everything is doing okay?
Yeah, everybody's doing good on this side, man.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what's up. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started, man. I like to try to go back to where it all began. To me, both of y'all, like y'all in that category with Michael Jackson. Y'all started off real young. I read, you know, you studying music at the age of 3, and you said the first time you rocked the mic was at the age of 7.
Yeah, it's true.
I think I was playing with my G.I. Joe and Kung Fu Grip around that time. So, but that's dope, man. So let's take it back. I'll start with you, Bd3. Okay. Let's go back. Give us a little bit of your story and your journey of how you got off into rapping, how you got off into music, who helped you, and what got you from that point to where you are today.
Okay. All right, cool. Actually, before I start, I just wanted to correct you in your intro a little bit. Soul in My Cup is not a part of the new piece. That actually is a song from the first album that me and UnkleNephew did together called Time, Era, Period. I just wanted to make sure that we got that clear.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not on the
Thanks
news.
for doing that, bro.
Yeah, that's not on the news. But if we let's take it to the beginning, the genesis.
Okay.
You know what? So, like, you know, a lot of people don't know, but, you know, if you've been around me, you know, I've been rocking the mic since I was 7. But that's because I came out of the womb as a performer. I was always a performer, you know. I was like the one person in my family who would perform everything. I'd be in the play, I'd be in the band, I'd be in the choir. I used to play the steel pan too. Like, there's a whole, like, I was always into something. But more importantly, I had this gift. I call it a blessing, really. It was like this rhythmic memory. And I would just remember things in patterns and rhythm and rhyme. So to be quite honest with you, I really started it to like memorize like things that I like for class that I don't even remember. Because I remember my mother used to say to me, boy, you know these songs, more than you know your books. She used to say that to me all the time. And it's just like, well, it's just something that came natural. Like, if I hear a song the second time, I pretty much know it.
Yeah.
I knew every commercial. I knew like the ad libs that would come. It was just like a gift. So I started off there, and then as far as like where hip hop goes, I grew up in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was born in the mid '80s, so I grew up in hip hop. Like, hip hop was played outside of the house everywhere. Like where I grew up, my sister is 11 11 years older than me, so I was able to receive a lot of information, a lot of tapes, a lot of CDs, a lot of records of things that people would not have at my age, right? So I was able to kind of soak that up. And back then everybody rapped a little bit. I was just better than everybody.
Okay.
And I just took it serious. Like I just took it serious, and it was a form of expression for me. And by the time, and then it was also a way for me to express myself, also a way for me to be different. My biggest thing was being different. I hated doing the same thing that other people did. I didn't want to wear the same clothes. I didn't want to do the same thing. I just wanted to be different because everybody was the same. So it was a way for me to kind of like step out of that what everybody thinks you're supposed to be like, especially when you coming from Brooklyn and in the city, and like everybody think you're supposed to be. It's almost like there's only two characters in our play, right? You're gonna be a street guy or you're gonna be a square. Right? There's like no in between.
Right.
I mean, which is a terrible thing for the identity of a black man. There should be like way more stories out there, right?
Right.
Especially if you come from the hood, you could be anything.
Yeah.
Living.
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't have to be one of the two.
Right.
So for me, it was really big, for me to kind of like stamp my identity through my creative abilities. So I let's just say we're gonna fast forward from 7 until maybe like 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
Right? So from about 13, 14 years old, that's when I started getting really, really, really good.
Okay.
And really, really serious. To the point where I was in a rap group called 2NG. Right?
2NG.
2NG. Right? I was in a rap group called 2NG with my boy. His name back then was Casper Loke. He was a gangbanger. He was a gangbanger, and I was just me. I was me, and he was a gangbanger called Casper Loke.
Casper Loke. Okay.
we had this 2-man group.
Never tell that story.
Nah, it's a great story. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
We was, so we was in this group, and he would always call me like, "You like Nas, you like Esco." Like you always about that knowledge, and but your style is. And I was like, I really appreciate that because Nas was my favorite rapper.
Mine too.
Yeah, my favorite rapper. Like that's who I patterned a lot of. Earlier on, I patterned a lot of my style after Nas. So make a long story short, he came over to the crib, and we would be rapping and recording on my cassettes from one cassette to the other, and just doing what we do, using the Kobe headphones as a microphone, just doing the old school shit. And because I never really told this story.
Okay.
And we actually looked in the yellow pages for a studio.
Okay.
So we looked in the yellow pages and we found a studio out there in Southside Jamaica, Queens. And that was the studio that we was going. I told my moms, he told his moms, like, "Yo, you gotta let us go to the studio." Mind you, we like 13, 14.
Yeah.
I was like, "You gotta let us go to the studio. You gotta let us go." So they was like, "Yeah, okay." keep you off the street. No, go to your little studio and make your little songs or whatever.
Right.
So I end up signing a production deal at 14 years old with this I'm not gonna give you their name, but these cats out there, and that's when I really started thinking that a career in music could happen.
Okay.
Especially, like at least for me, I was like, oh wow, so you could actually turn this into something. I was super young.
Yeah.
So I stayed in that lasted for maybe about a year, and I was hot as fish grease in my school. I would battle anybody in the lunchroom. They had my school was a super huge school with a precinct in the basement. And I went to one of them super huge schools. So they broke it down into 3 different schools, and I would back anybody from any school. I only lost one time, and it was it was in the stairwell, his back stairwell, where this kid from Marcy Projects, he was beyond. Like, I don't even know how he used to come up with that stuff at that age. But I would back anybody, and we would just, and I would do that in school. I would do it on the streets. Coming home from school, I would do it on my block. I had to do it on my block a lot.
Yeah.
I had to do it on my block a lot. And it kind of just shaped the way my style is, and just kind of cultivated my writing. And, throughout the years, I just stayed on it, man. Just through live shows, through creating mixtapes and little albums here, little cuts here. So much unreleased music that I have too, but I just kind of stayed on it, and now we're here. That I think that part of the story is even more important than everything else that happened beyond that, because I think what it was is that we sought that out. It was like, yeah, I had this gift, and yeah, I was good in school and all that, and I was good on my block and everything, but I took it a step further to seek out the opportunity to make this thing something that could be serious. So yeah, and I think that's God. That might not really be me. I think I'm just the vessel, but that was really God's plan.
Wow. Yeah, you spoke of you said you hear rhythms, rhythmic.
Like
Yeah, that's interesting, because I remember Kanye West. He was saying that he's seen music in colors. And I could relate to that a little bit, but when I first heard you say that, which I believe was on the Sway show, I was taken back a little bit, because I was just like, wow, okay. I don't know if I've heard that one before. And so, but you said something that was interesting, because you said you used to use that to do your math.
Yeah, I did.
Now, how does that happen?
Well, you mean math is about formulas, right? So if you remember the formula, then you remember the formula and the format, then you will always get the answer, because, there's even though there's variables in algebra, but nothing really changes in math. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. The number's the number. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. Right? It never changed.
Right.
So for me, trying to remember all those numbers, that wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I knew these songs though.
Right.
I knew these songs, and I know if I made a rap about a formula, I remember it, and that's what I did. Right? Like, I would take, whatever the formula was, and I would just I would use that as a memory to be like, oh, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, I would take the formula, oh yeah, this is what you're supposed to do, because I will always remember it.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I use the rhythmic patterns to remember the math formulas, so I can actually pass these tests and not get it wrong.
Right. Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Right. UnkleNephew, you started at 3. And it says here you went to study at Susan E. Weiner School. Is that like a? Is that like a art and music school?
It's actually a regular public school that has a really high quality performing arts program, and so now they actually, I think they might be the only school in New York that has a building specifically for performing arts. So they have band rooms, they have dance studios, choral studios, everything based in the performing arts is in that building, separate from the school building, the main school building. They have like a black box theater too. But when I was there, I was able to study under and be mentored by cats that were on the scene. Like I think I played my first professional gig as maybe like a junior. Like my teacher just called me one night and he asked me to sit in. I guess they couldn't get a drummer. They asked me to sit in on some gig in the city at like a real jazz club, you know. So I was able to study under what was his brother's name? He played with Frank Lacey. He used to play with the Jazz Messengers.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s and the 80s, I was able to study under Salim Washington. I was able to study under Vincent Herring and different cats like that. You know, I was able to also do an internship and study under what is his name? Not he's similar to Frank Sinatra. Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett.
I was able to do stuff with them, and actually through the Tony Bennett program, I was able to meet Bd3 for the first time. And then years later, fast forward, 3-4 years later, I had met him again through Edson Sean, who was a mutual friend of ours, and we formed the band The Experience. But I didn't really remember that I had met him and interacted with him at the studio that I was interning at until like the owner, we had came in contact with the owner one day, this dude named Taylor. He was in the band for a second too. But it's funny, I didn't really think about that in terms of the Tony Bennett Foundation putting me in that internship at the studio to eventually meet Jeff. You know, a lot of the stuff I forget because I don't think about it all the time.
Right.
But just to give you a little bit more of my background, about 3 years ago, I started playing at this spot called Soul on the Horn in the city.
Yeah.
And every Friday I would sit in, just jam with the DJs, and I was able to make connections, and then that led to me going on tour with Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. We went all over the world, Australia, South America, Europe. And I toured with them for about a year. And then in the midst of touring with them, Jeff and I, Bd3 and I, were working on the first album, Time Era Period. And we put that out in September of 2018, right?
2018.
September of 2018. And then, after that, we formed True Culture. And then, we're here today.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Right. All right, so let's talk about the album a little bit. You got the album out now. Time Era.
No.
Time.
That was the first record. The new record.
Was the first record.
Now, yeah, the new record that's out now is called Sunnydale. Okay,
I'm going off of the information I was given. I thought this was the album that was out that y'all just put out now.
No. Time Era Period came out in September of 2018. That was our first project. We just released a week ago. We just released Sunnydale, the EP, which features Why Do You Love Me and For the Ancestors.
That's all right. Let's go. Let's keep trucking. Let's keep pushing.
Yeah. I go by the information that I was given, but I listened to some of these joints, and I gotta say, and I the song For the Ancestors, that was the one that just like completely blew me away. That one was I was just like, wow, this is really some incredible work here. What was the motivation behind that? Because the one thing I noticed, like if you hadn't seen the video, and you maybe just heard it for the first time, you probably thought you was talking about a woman, but you was actually talking about America.
Yeah.
Break that song down. How was y'all able to put that together?
Well,
Yeah, my brother.
cool. First, I think I had started that beat, the initial beat, maybe around this time last year, November, October of 2019, and I just had in my mind. I started playing a riff that was similar to it reminded me of Bill Withers, like a Bill Withers song on like the keys part, and then it just came to me like I knew I wanted the song to talk about basically fuck your flag, you know, the the tragic and disruptive relationship that America has with Black Americans, you know, and so I knew I wanted to have like some slave sounds in there, like slaves in the field singing Negro spirituals. I knew I wanted to have that in there, and so I presented it to Jeff, and he just blew it out of the water, you know, with his idea of America, speaking about America as a woman and its relationship with Black people. It just took it over the top. And so, Jeff, you can take it from there,
Mm.
from your writing standpoint.
Got you, got you, got you. Stop telling these people my first name.
Oh.
Yeah, look, I'm not telling you. Yeah, man. So for the ancestors, so nephew was like, listen, I want this to say, fuck your flag. We're gonna have these old, Negro spirituals and all of this and slave this. And I was like, whoa, okay, my brother. He started talking about slaves, and I started checking out a little bit. But he knows why. It's like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, dude, let's change the narrative. So I'm like, no, I was like, I'm gonna raise you one, right? I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna raise you one. If we're gonna go there, then let's really go there and let's dissect the abusive relationship that America has with its inhabitants, especially people of African descent. And I thought the best way to do so, the way people would identify, is if I made it about a relationship. Because America has always been portrayed as a woman. She is the pronoun that has been used to describe America. Her flag, it's always been described as a woman. So I was like, okay, well then I'm going to describe this woman with all of the characteristics, all of the character flaws that I think she has, right? So she's beautiful, right? Like stunning and probably a little bit over sexualized, right? Crazy, but also vile and sadistic and all of these other characteristics. And I was like, I want to uncover the story, because the thing about it is that there is a narrative that exists that this is our country, we built this country, we don't need to go anywhere type of thing, right? Like, this is our country. A lot of people say go back to Africa. A lot of people be like, go back where? Right? Like, I don't know no Africa. This is my country. Like, that's a narrative for some people.
Right.
So for me, it's like, well then let's do one. Let's do one further. If we ain't gonna go back anywhere, and if we're gonna claim this, then let's talk about this. Real. This abusive, manipulative relationship that we have with this country, and let's uncover, all of those things. It's like let's unpack that. So that's when I started off with the concept, and then after that, like, my writing process usually is a kind of freestyle, like the rhythm of how I'm going to say things, and the words come later.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of already gave me what he wanted the concept of the song to be, so my head was already there. Yeah. And as I'm freestyling through the joint, and I'm like, then I'm able to listen to my voice note or listen to the recording of whatever we had, like the scratch vocals, and 85% of that becomes the actual verse.
Okay.
So that's how that process went.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's dope. That's real dope. Yeah, I dug that joint, man. I love that one. Just to watch it, and it said, I think I got the information where you you do some of the visuals
Yeah,
on some
yeah,
of the videos.
yeah. So I direct all of the visuals that come out. I work hand in hand though with our pianist, keys player Noah McNeil. He is the animator, so I cannot take credit for that. Like he brought that to life. He brought my ideas to life. So big shout out to Noah McNeil. But yes, I direct, like that's the storyline that I came up with for the visuals. Yeah, I created that. So basically, you put it like this: when you hear "For the Ancestors," for some people it's like yeah, and then for other people it's like whoa, that's abrasive, right? Because the hook is literally fuck up the world, yeah. Burn down your flag, fuck it. I don't care. That's how a lot of people feel. Right. But then we're gonna go into it now. Why people feel like that. But also at the end of the song, I also say it's a complicated relationship because I owe her, right? And there's a lot of people who feel like, we live in a first world country, so there's a lot of privileges that we have compared to people who are living in third world countries, right? But the Black experience and the Black identity is, like we kind of live within a bubble in the country because it's almost like we live in a third world country in a first world country.
Right.
So it's a very weird relationship, and I kind of just wanted to explore with that, and I wanted the visuals to aid and abet in telling that story. So if you listen to it and you're not catching some things, through your ears, then you're definitely gonna catch it with your eyes.
Yeah.
And that's the idea.
Okay. Dope. For an album that I believe y'all did with a brother named FKA Jazz.
Yeah.
Grammy nominated brother.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that album, because I was totally surprised about that one, and I was just like, okay, well here's another one that y'all two did, and then y'all added another brother. How did that thing come in play?
Are you referring to Beautifully Awkward, that album?
Yeah, probably. That's what you're probably talking about. That's some.
He released so much stuff at this point, man.
Yeah,
his stuff is crazy.
Well, yeah, you want to hit that?
Yeah, well, I started working with FKA Jazz back in 2016, I want to say, and that was a direct result of, like I said before, playing that solo on the horn every week. And so I met him, and when I first met him, he was working on his first record as FKA Jazz, Stereotype Threat, and I played on one song on that, and then he put together a band. I was in that, and then when we were working on Time Era Period, I had basically used the same band that he had put together and brought him in to play saxophone in our band, and then we were working so closely together that we decided to start this company, this record label. It's a culture collective, music collective called True Culture Music Collective, and from there everything has just grown, and everything has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, from the music to the fashion that we talk about. We had a podcast. We were doing visuals, like everything is in-house with True Culture Music. And Jeff can talk a little bit more about.
So y'all basically all on the same label?
Well, it's
our label.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's our label, True Culture Music. That's that's our yeah. So it's our collective. It's it's like a three-headed monster with myself, FK Jazz, and UnkleNephew is like the main proprietors of it. But it also serves as a band with our other members, Yoshiki Yamada and Noah McNeil. And then it also extends to all of the other artists and musicians that we work with as well. So, it's a collective, it's a band, and we're, that it's our business platform that we're looking to churn out, amazing content for people.
Oh, that's real dope. That's real dope. So all three of y'all basically run this label. Do y'all have any other artists on that label, or is just y'all three right now?
So
us three for now, for the most part.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we got to worry about us right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can't
When we
take
blow up,
off.
they can blow up.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
There
Yeah,
you go.
plus when you work with artists, and you that becomes just as important as your kids, right? Like you put them, like it's a very important job. So right now, I think us is enough, but we work real closely and tight with a lot of folks, from Jay Swiss to Marcus Machado, to Walkie Wide, to Edson Sean, you know, the list goes on. There's really a lot of dope people that we work with, and it's like we don't think about it as work. They just a part of the family. So it is.
Right. Okay. So, Uncle Nephew, you went on tour with Black Star.
I went on tour with Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, and as a result of that, they opened. They used to work with the Gorillas. They've opened for the Gorillas several times. They've played on their records. I think they actually met the Gorillas through Yasin Bey, and then by meeting Yasin Bey, they were the backing band for Black Star. I think that's it. Yeah, there was. I actually just the other day I had seen one of our shows from France. It was Jazz Vienne is on Quincy Jones' platform. They've been promoting that. It was the first show that I did with Black Star. That was in France in I want to say June of 2018. So I did about a total of 3 shows with Black Star, 2 in France and 1 in the UK.
Right. Okay. Yeah, some of the information, I was getting, like I said,
still on point. Still on point.
Yeah. I was thinking that the album Time Era Period was an album that you had out now, but you're saying it's a different album. And what's the name of the new album?
The new album is called Sunny Down.
Sunny
Just
Down.
released last week, October 25th, right?
Oh, okay.
No,
So
sorry,
you
no,
just
October.
dropped that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just last week. Yeah, just last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta get hip to that one then. I gotta get hip. So
for the ancestors and Why Do You Love Me?
Yeah, for the ancestors, Why Do You Love Me? The joints that you've heard are from that particular project. I just think that the titles, I think you just mixed up the titles, but you didn't mix up the content because every song that you name is off of the new project. So
gotcha.
you in the right space. It's just the wrong title. That's all.
Okay, got you.
Right space.
Okay.
Good.
Well, let's jump to something else. Okay, 2020, we got the COVID. We're dealing with that. We're seeing that a lot of people have passed away dealing with it. And I even think I may have had it before they knew exactly what it was, because I went through that. But they got this vaccination coming. Would y'all be willing to take it?
No.
Okay. Say why.
Absolutely not, because Black people are not guinea pigs, as we have been before. We're not doing that. If they want to test it on somebody, let them test it on, these pale folk out here.
Statement.
He went straight there. Yeah.
White folk. We're not doing that. Not in our community. We're not doing that. They've done it us before. We're not doing it again, because when the first thing you heard about the vaccine was through Bill Gates and his wife.
Okay.
And they wanted. I think the wife said she wanted Black people to be the first to test it out or something like that. And Bill Gates he's a computer guy. What does he know about vaccines other than the fact that he has money?
Right.
So we're not doing none of that testing on Black people stuff. If they want to do that, do it on the real true immigrants of this country.
All right. What's your take on it, brother?
Man, I will not be taking any vaccinations. I will not be putting foreign agents in my body that has been cultivated by this here United States of America, that have been designed in a lab over the last, 5 months?
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
I won't be putting that in my body. Also, everything is politics.
Right.
Like the vaccination is politics. It's coming out, or the story of it has been in an election year, right? And I always tell people this, and they always want me to call me a conspiracy theorist, but you can call me. Listen. They always want, talk about conspiracies, but don't you know that every election year, right? Every time there is an election year, there is something big that happens, right? When Obama said we killed Osama bin Laden. We got him, guys. We got him.
Right.
That was during the election year. You know what I'm saying? Bill Clinton had something during an election year. Like everybody gets an issue, a big issue during an election year. I'm good. Like play politics with people. Don't play with me. I'm good. Like I'm not putting that in my body. Like, y'all could play on. I don't engage, man. I don't engage.
Right.
I stay away from the bullshit, man.
Right. Yeah. I imagine taking that thing and then you waking up with another arm coming out your backside. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you're gonna get from that.
Look at the MMR shot, right? Like that is directly traced to spikes in autism, and autism is directly related to who? Young black men. Like, get out of here. That shit is not a coincidence, man. Come on, man. Are you serious?
Right.
Like, what? Right. And then you were talking about consensual? Like, I'm giving you consent to do that to me?
Right.
You must have thought I'm a fool. You've been asking some questions that.
You don't want that third eye growing in your head, man.
I got my third eye already, man.
Right.
Clear.
Right. That's what's up, man. So, okay, since we went to politics a little bit, Trump and Biden, what's your take on this coming up election? Are you voting? Who you voting for?
Dangerous questions, man.
Yeah, some dangerous. a little bit.
But I don't give a fuck. I ain't voting. I ain't voting. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck.
You're not voting?
No, I don't vote. Fuck that. Fuck that.
See, now, this is a problem.
Give me a second. You have your time.
Nah,
you can have your time to speak on our ancestors' forefathers' right to vote.
Not acceptable.
Ancestors' forefathers' right to do a lot of things.
I mean, it ain't really about that.
Right? Like,
it's really about the future.
The point, no, sorry. That's not what I believe. Not what I believe.
Well, you shouldn't have any conversations on politics if you're not going to vote.
Why not? Politics has nothing to do with the vote.
Because you're not exerting your privilege to have an effect on politics.
I have an effect on politics every day. I mean, the good man just said that I affect the youth every day, right? So cool, I have. Give me a second. Give me a second before you jump in with the rhetoric, okay? Because that's what people do right here. People hear you not voting, and they automatically go into attack mode or defensive mode for what they think ancestral privilege is. Like let's not do that. Give me a second. What I'm saying is, all our ancestors fought for something. They fought for you to have your own fucking mind and your own thought process and to do what you want to do when you want to do it because you're a man, because you're a human. That's what they fought for. If my ancestors and my ancestors do know me, talk to me all the time, and they say, you know what? If you don't want to be a part of the circus, don't be a part of the circus, my brother. But do understand that you do have to contribute, to the betterment of your people and the forward progression of your people. That's what I focus on. That's why I'm still connected to the youth. That's why I'm very particular about my art and what I put out there. That's why I educate myself on local politics if I choose to entertain it and do it or not. But for me, none of this shit real. None of it is real. So why would I partake in it knowing that I know that this shit ain't real? You think 45 really running this country? You think Biden gonna do something better? You think we didn't get Obama at a perfect time? When the country was at its most freaking, it was unstable. It gave us a black president that said, "Shut the fuck up, calm down."
Yeah.
Well, the black president
with his administration still doing some fucked up shit. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm not blaming him because he inherited problems from another administration, because the administration itself, regardless of who it is, has an agenda that is backed by, this country is ran by shit that ain't got nothing to, like, yo, man, if you really want, like, man, this shit got to burn down and start over again. The whole earth got to done. And everybody got to be done, and then the shit restart again. That's where we at now. You know what I mean? Or we go live off the grid, you know what I mean, when the earth starts swallowing us up, and we got to start eating each other. That's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come down to. All of this talking about exercise your right to vote. Man, get the fuck out of here. Man, what?
Now,
who? Biden? What?
You're not voting for Biden, though, in my opinion.
So I'm voting Trump out.
Right.
I voted for Biden.
But also though,
I don't believe in
I'm thinking of it.
What you call it? The lesser of two evils. I don't believe in that. I just don't choose evil.
I mean, come on, it's not a perfect.
No. The problem is people don't think that's an option. That's why.
But it's not an option.
It is.
Stuck with this.
It's an option if you make
another 4 years.
Nah,
but there's a lot that you're not thinking about, that you don't really care about. You all right? So right now they're pushing for another Supreme Court justice, right? Supreme Court justices are on that seat or in that seat for a lifetime. This woman is like 45 something years old. She's gonna be in that seat for the next 40 to 50 years. The justice that just died, she was like almost 90 years old, and justices have the power to do things like they have the power to get rid of amendments, right, to the Constitution. They have the ability to take away people's health care and affect things that will affect you. You may not be wanting to vote, but there are things that, if by you not voting for Biden to get Trump out, there are things that he's going to be able to do that is ultimately going to affect you. And everything that you just said, I agree with it in a different year. Like if this was any other year, if there were any other different candidates, I would be like, cool. But that was the same thing that happened with us 4 years ago, and now we're stuck with this clown. 200,000 people just died, man. Jobs are at an all-time low, regardless of what he's saying, because it's all lies. Like, we're in a bad situation, and in order for us to get out of it and to get to somewhere better, we have to vote for Joe Biden. And Joe Biden was not my choice. Joe Biden, like, I wanted to vote for Andrew Yang, but the way I'm thinking about it is, right, Joe Biden is 8.
Well, because Andrew Yang was going to give you some money?
No, that's not about it. Joe Biden is almost 90 years old, right? If you look at him, he's slow. He's slowing down. His mind ain't right. His body ain't right. We have an opportunity, if he croaks, I'm not saying he is, but if he croaks, and I'm not a
Kamala Harris lead us?
I'm not a Kamala Harris fan, but this is an opportunity.
Okay, because I was trying to find out where you was going.
You're right. You have an opportunity to get a black woman in office to do something, and she's younger. She's younger than Obama was. She has an opportunity to do something that none of these white men are going to do. You know, that's my thinking on it. You know, Biden so that we could possibly get Kamala Harris, and even if he doesn't croak, 4 to 8 years from now, she could probably be the first black female president. You know,
Mm.
you
I
gotta weigh your options, pick your pros and cons, man.
I respect everything that you said, and I think
And I respect what you said too.
yeah, I think it's super intelligent. I think that you are on point, but I will not be participating in the circus.
And with that, I wanna advise you to, when having conversations about this, to keep in mind that you're not voting and you're not
Mhm.
exercising that privilege that we have, because our ancestors didn't have it, like you said. A lot of our ancestors died for the privilege to vote, amongst a bunch of other things. But it is a privilege for us as Black people to have the ability to vote.
Yeah, I understand that sentiment, and like I said, I believe it's really difficult when you are expressing your opinion about these matters because it runs deeply. But
Right.
my oh my god,
Cool.
my scope is is wider than that. My scope is wider than that, right? Like I don't think about it just in that way, right? Like my scope is a little bit wider. And when I think about my ancestors and what they fought for, it's more so like, man, we fought because people tried to enslave us and take away our humanity and our dignity.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what we fought. We fought for you to remember that you're a human, you're a man or a woman, and you have dignity. And you support your family, you take care of your loved ones, you spread love, you do all of these things. But you are an individual, you're not stock, right? You're not stock. And a lot of the thinking and the conditioning and the brainwashing of people in this country is like stock.
It's crazy.
We all do the same shit.
It's
We
crazy.
don't believe in the same shit, regardless it's red or it's blue. It's the same shit. And when people who claim independent thoughts and independent thinking sound crazy, right? Because of their delivery is like it's really off.
Yeah.
It's off-putting and off-putting. But for me, I'm never dissing people who want to vote. I don't diss them. If you want to take that right that you have and you felt like your ancestors died for you to have this right to vote, then by all means, go ahead and exercise that right to vote. You educated yourself on all of the policies and everything that's on the card, and you've picked your poison, then die with that poison and go ahead and do that. But I choose not to drink the poison. I choose to find my antidote my own way. Like that's what people say, pick your poison. How about I don't pick the poison? How about I don't drink poison? How about I just
Let me
drink
ask
water?
you this question. If Black people had their own party, right? If Black people got away from the Democratic Party and formed their own, right? And demanded services and programs and money, reparations and whatnot for their vote, right? Demanded change for their vote, would you vote? If Black people had their own party?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe in the political process. And reparations is not real. In order for America to give reparations to Black people, and that means that all of the European countries in the world have to give reparations to Africa. And that's never going to happen. It's not. Like, let's be like, we could talk politics and we can talk about all these fancy terms and all this shit, but then when we get down to the nitty gritty and we're talking about reparations, yeah, come on, man. Even reparations becomes divisive because it's people who are descendants of.
Exactly.
But my people are not from this country. Like, my parents weren't born here.
Where would you get yours from Britain or whatever the
right? So, but I get treated like every other motherfucker up in here because they can't tell if you're West Indian or not. They don't care. You black. So I don't receive those benefits too. Like, even that thinking is also divisive because it comes from, like, all that shit stem from white supremacy, man. That's what it's about, and that's why I don't choose to engage in that, because that is also a form of white supremacy. You telling me to pick my poison, which white man you want to go with? What?
You're right. You're right.
Wow.
That's a great point.
You both make really great points. Really great points. I can definitely, I definitely feel. I ask this sometimes. It depends on, because I've brought that up, and people literally get into arguments.
I love it. It's all good with me.
All right.
I just know that the opinion won't be popular, but I think it needs to be said. I think people don't need to be afraid to say that they don't believe in the political process and they don't want to vote. I think that's okay. I think, though, that they got to have something that goes with that. You can't just say, I'm not going to vote because I just don't like them. Like, you got to have something with it. Like, okay, so if you're not voting, then what are you doing, right? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what it's about. Like, what do you do to add on to, you know, like the
what do you, I think about it, what are you doing specifically for your community, Black people?
specifically?
Not you, I'm just saying it, and I'm speaking generally. Like, what if you're not going to vote, even if you
Right, then what are you doing for your
if
community?
if you're talking about anything, what is being done by you or the people around you to better your community?
Right.
Specifically, but I don't care about none of these crackers and all this other stuff. Black people, we are the bottom of the barrel in this country, regardless of what it looks like. We were slaves. We are disenfranchised. We are, like, when you think about money in our community, right? What would we generate? Over $1 billion in revenue? But how quickly does it stay in our community? Like 6 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
When you compare it to other communities, like the dollar circulates for 30 days with Jews or something like that, or Asians, it circulates for 20 days because they have businesses. We don't have any of that. We don't have infrastructure in our community, because we're not allowed to. And then the fact that you brought it up before, there's this whole thing about, I forget the acronyms, but it's like American descendants of slaves, and then there's descendants of slaves from the West Indies.
ADOS.
Yeah, all of that stuff. There's so much divisiveness within our community. Learn from white supremacy and slavery. So it's like if we get on the same page, that's a big if we could get somewhere as a community.
Right. If we were to get on the same page, to be quite honest with you, right, then it would be bigger. And this is, you know, I've been thinking about this. It would be bigger than the United States of America.
Yeah.
Right? It would have to be a whole thinking of the Black consciousness, right? From you know, imperialism, colonialism, really. You know what I mean? Like there is a type of thinking for Black people who are born in the Caribbean. There is a particular type of thought process and thinking for people who are born on the continent. There's a particular type of thought process and thinking for people who are descendants of slaves born here in the United States. You know, you can't have it one and not have it the other, because we all connected, right? Like we're literally all connected, right? Like there would be no slaves in United States or in the Caribbean. Like they came from somewhere, right? Like they literally came.
We all want people.
They all came from a particular place. So if these people get their reparations and these people don't, that's no headway. That ain't no headway. Like that's not a win for the Black consciousness, for the Black life. Not to me, at least. So that would be the biggest shift in the world, and it would mean that it would bring world economies to its knees. Not just economy, but history has to be rewritten and told the right way. You have to destroy the books, right? And the people who are on top and who are enjoying this, enjoying being on top for the hundreds and hundreds of years that they've been on top, ain't ready to give that shit up. They won't give it up without a fight. And that's why they place so much obstacles within the way. You understand what I'm saying? And I also feel, just me, I feel like the whole idea of the elections and the voting and the figureheads are that in itself a distraction and an obstacle. In order for me, in my opinion, for things to change, would have to be a drastic shift, like
You gotta tear the
war.
whole thing down.
Like yes, it has to be war. One day, like everybody gotta look at each other who's black in every part of the world and be like, stop.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that.
Mm. Mm.
In order for shit to really, like, the whole country's got to come down. It got to come down. You got to destroy it to rebuild it. You can't rebuild it on faulty or sand on faulty foundation.
Constitution, we're not even considered people, you know.
Yeah, like you got to burn that Constitution. Fuck that Magna Carta. Fuck all that shit. What? This man burn all that. We don't give a fuck about them papers, man.
Right.
Burn that shit.
Right.
Put them on a stake. Everybody gotta go. We going, a couple of us gonna die. More of them gonna die.
Right. Wow.
Everybody got it.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you there because I don't want y'all to go too far. But no, that's good. That's good word, brother. And I'm feeling both of you cats. I'm gonna lighten it up and then I'm gonna let you go. Next month, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. Who do you got?
I am Mike, baby.
All right, Mike.
I thought that was supposed to happen in September, but
It was supposed to happen in September. They moved it to November.
okay. Mike Tyson.
I heard Roy Jones. I heard Roy Jones is thinking. I heard he like I don't know. I don't know. That's a rumor in the grapevine. Although Roy Jones is like an amazing. Let's not show my man Roy. He's amazing. Running to catch chickens with bare hands. He's amazing.
Right.
Mike is
Tyson.
a different beast.
And a second part to that question, and I'll let y'all get out of here. When Tyson first started talking about boxing, he underwent stem cell therapy. If y'all know anything about that, it was a wrestler who. Well, stem cell therapy is some type of therapy you go under. It was a wrestler talking about it who said he, because of fighting and stuff, he couldn't open up his hand no more. He went through it, and everything came back to him. And Mike Tyson underwent this. So if you've never heard about it, check it out. Because I was more or less like, I don't know. That kind of sounds like cheating a little bit to me, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily cheating, man. I think it would be the same as getting, if you tore your ACL, you're doing something to reworking the muscle, reworking the cell.
Okay.
The cell come before the muscle, so you got to rework the cell in order for it to regenerate. So I wouldn't call it cheating.
Okay.
I would call it risky.
Yeah.
Call it risky.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see next month. So I appreciate y'all, man, coming on, and I appreciate y'all patience and everything. And I'll get this up very soon, and I'll keep in contact with you, man. And I'll definitely continue to educate myself on your music and everything y'all doing, man, because y'all doing it big, brother.
Thank you.
So keep doing a great job, man. Y'all doing it good, man. All right, brother. Well, y'all stay up, man. And I'll talk with you soon. All right, brother. Peace.
Peace.
Yep. Few issues today, but we got through it. Smart brothers, talented brothers doing music. So stay on the lookout. Bd3 and Uncle Nephew, John Muhammad Podcast.